This evening I have a man of God, and we want to know him, then get to know what he does and how he looks at this world, plus the best way we have to celebrate this beautiful kind of season, the resurrection of Jesus Christ our Lord. His name is Reverend Father Deogratias Kateregga Kiibi. He's currently the parish priest of Mpigi Parish, and we'll get to know more. Father, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How is Mpigi?
Mpigi is fine.
For how long have you been here?
I've been here, I came here on 29th of September 2019.
29th of
yeah,
September.
so I'm getting to about 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take this opportunity to have you inspire people on this show.
Okay.
How does it mean for a young professional like you to take on a management position in the church language of a whole parish? What does it mean to you? So far, how do you feel the seat?
The church never ordains young people. After senior 6, I was formed, we call it formation. I was trained in your secular understanding for 8 years to manage ministry.
Okay.
So whenever our superiors see that you can manage, they give you responsibility. And though at my age, I'm youth, I'm still a youthful priest, and I still have all the energy, all the zeal to inspire everybody. That's why being vested with responsibility at my stage is also a good thing, because I still have the power to move, to walk, to go and inspire souls, to go and awaken sleeping spirits of men and women who could be getting fed up, who could be downtrodden, who could be disappointed, who could be frustrated. So I feel I'm in the right moment to serve the church better.
Okay. But administratively, how have you found the office as now somebody in charge of a whole parish?
Yeah, being in charge of a whole parish is a challenge, but also a learning experience. As you know, what you go through now prepares you for what's coming tomorrow. So being a parish priest, it's not a showing of power, but it's service. So I'm enjoying the service. And via administration, the experience I have from managing my own affairs and managing affairs of small communities, I have enough expertise to manage. And I'm managing as well as learning. We have senior priests in our ministry, so I learn from what they do. But again, before I came here, I've been into the hands of senior priests. At the cathedral, I was in the hands of the cathedral administrator, Reverend Father Joseph Mary Buye. Then at Goli, I was in the hands of our current, the Episcopal Vicar of Mitara Maria. So from those hands, even at Machinde, that's my home parish, in Machinde there, I was in the hands of Father Lugobe. All those three are senior priests. And at the cathedral, I was in the hands of wonderful men of God who have served in this ministry for a long time. So I've learned from them, and here, and the environment is also taming me, and I'm learning even to adapt. I'm learning even to learn how to be administrative better. And so I hope I'm doing well, and I'm learning even to do better.
Don't you miss town?
This is not a village. This is a town. This Mpigi is a town parish.
Don't you miss Kampala? Because people in Kampala miss you anyway.
Yeah, people in Kampala miss me anyway, but I was not in Kampala before. I came to Kampala from Goli. Goli is a few meters from here. But anyway, any person could miss Kampala. But coming, this was also another opportunity. I'm even busier than there. But in Kampala, there was a lot of pollution. The air The environment was dusty and a lot of jam. I was busier moving up and down. Sometimes you get on the border when you are late. So there are some things I miss about Kampala. But again, there are so many consolations in this place of Mpigi. And I cannot regret being appointed here. And I know His Grace the Archbishop of Kampala appointed me here knowing that I will enjoy. You know, our elders, our superiors, they appoint you somewhere knowing that you will manage to go there. So I'm enjoying anyway.
So far, how would you rate yourself, 2019 up to now? In terms of service, how would you rate yourself? Have you changed the souls like you said at the beginning?
Now, one of the challenges we have as religious leaders, we preach, we make impact, but we can never measure the extent of our impact. So I cannot rate myself. When you find a leader rating himself, there is always a problem. Okay. We must be rated by people. But what I'm doing my best to serve the people of God and fulfilling the expectations of my superiors.
They closed churches, you went preaching, and they arrested you.
Yes, they closed churches, fine. We were 7 people in the church. We were 7 people. And I remember by then, we had been allowed to have a maximum of 10 people. But as you know, parish, I have co-workers here. We have cooks. I have someone at the gate. We have a sacristan. So at least 90% of the people in the church were part of my family. Mm-hmm. And this journalist, moreover, he was Catholic. All of us, okay, may he rest in peace. Anyway, I don't want to talk about him. But he came here, and I'm told he's the one who called the DPC and everybody. So he came here, and I saw about 80 policemen around the church. They surrounded me, and they wanted to arrest me. I was not arrested, by the way, like media put it. So that journalist misinformed the public that I was arrested. But I went at the police station and I made a statement. So that's only what happened. Then after I came back, and everyone was calling that you have been arrested. I was not arrested. So anyway, it was ill professionalism of the police and the mishandling of the situation. And that's the biggest problem we have with it's the biggest problem we have with the human resource
in different entities.
In different entities and institutions. We have many graduates, but most of these graduates are academically graduate, but they are practically not graduate.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that some of them are they are theoretically graduates, but practically they are lacking. And I think some of our human resource, they are not happy where they are serving. Some maybe are low salaried. Some are not proud of who they are. That's why when they are handling service providing, they handle it the way they want. From when I went at the police station, I told them this was ill professionalism. That was a mishandling of the situation. It was misinformation. Even when you are rumored that there are people are praying there, you have to first go there and verify and know that they are breaking the law, they are breaking the rules, or they are breaking the law. But here, media is very fast at informing the public when they have not vetted into the information whether it's true. That's why some of the TVs here are breaking it down, some are closing down, because they broadcast lies. They misinform the public, you know.
Did you hold prayers again?
Oh yes, every day I'm supposed to read the mass in my parish. So I had to hold, I led masses. I continually led masses. But I had to pray for all those men who came here. 9 masses, that's a novena. For God to take them never to come back and disorganize our churches. So I prayed for all of them who came here. To God, 9 masses, that's a novena. That's what I could do. Because I got angry and disappointed. But later I prayed for them that God should teach them never to come back and attack our churches. They must first verify and they must respect us religious leaders. Not just storming and just attacking us anyhow. When you do that, you let the public disrespect us. For us, we must be respected.
What if when
you're
going
doing wrong things, we must be procedurally brought into the law. And even we must be handled well. We must be handled well, not to...
Because I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the DPC. The order is people should pray on Facebook, Twitter, and wherever. So somebody gives him a call that the Reverend Father in PG is holding Mass in church.
For us, in our parishes, we have workers there, about 9 or 10. And these people must attend Mass at least a day. And in this period of COVID-19, that pandemic, we had to pray for our people. So for me, I must have Mass at least daily, you know. So it was misinformation and mishandling of a situation. And even in that scenario, we didn't need the journalist. And we were told that journalist was the cause of the problem. Even we have a very, very big problem with the journalists. That's why people fear cameras. For me, it's because I'm a journalist. I know how you work. So when you call me, I give you audience. But many won't give you an audience because they fear. Our information sometimes is misinterpreted. Some is misunderstood. You can speak for 30 minutes and speak many words. Then they cut them into pieces. Then they are everywhere on social media. You are misunderstood and misinterpreted. Now, like that statement that Father Kiibi is under arrest was not true.
You stay with us, you relate with us, you know how we behave. Do you really see our lives? You have pastored in Uganda, in Kampala Archdiocese mainly. Do you see people exactly involving what they learn in church, in the scriptures, in our day-to-day lives?
But when I judge from what people do, I can think that people really apply what they believe into their practical behaviors. Now, you see, you cannot relate faith to behavior. No. Because I've seen people who have been caught stealing, having rosaries, having medals. Some are Christians, some are Muslim. So some people really have faith, but they are tempted. That's the first. Some people...
How do they fail to dodge temptations?
Now, some people have faith.
With faith?
Hey, some people have faith in God. They know what to do. They know the 10 commandments, but they are tempted. You find someone committing adultery, committing fornication, stealing, getting angry, unforgiving. So that happens. That's one. Again, two, we have some people who are not practicing religious men and women. They are nominal Muslims, they are nominal Christians, they are nominal Catholics. Since their baptism, they have not come back to the churches. So the faith they had was not irrigated. Because whenever they come to church and we preach, our word in a way changes them and makes them behave better. So we have so many nominal religious people. They are Catholic, they are Christians, they are Muslim, but they do not go. And that's what the biggest problem is. Most people who commit atrocities, who commit heinous crimes,
they belong to different faiths.
They belong to different faiths, but a big number of them do not come to church. They do not fulfill their religious obligations. That's my belief.
Who has not played their role
Who has not played their role? Them. Because the churches, the priests are ever there. The catechists are there. We have even churches today that are coming up. Some we have pastors who are coming up, different churches here in Uganda. Those ones are also a problem. Some churches we have, since born agains have no seminaries as yet, anyone can become a pastor. And that's still a challenge on their side. So you find that the issue of the prosperity gospel, sermons that make people lazy, that make them think that God will do everything for them, has also caused the problem on that arena, you know. But now, on a general level, those people have not done their part. For us to preach, we do what we are supposed to do, but now it is them to apply. It is them to give heed to what we preach to them. But even you have seen some government officials here who do not believe in God. Yes, they even come up publicly. They don't believe that Jesus died. They don't believe, they have a very, very funny way of believing in God. So, in a way, some people live the way they live because they don't know what God is telling them. Some of them stopped many years ago to go to church. They only rely on the homilies, sermons, and the funny clips they saw on social media. Some people's churches are social media, Facebook, and YouTube. And you cannot get any orthodox word from there.
Father, you have a very big following of the young people
yes.
in this country.
Yes.
How would you describe the kind of young people we have in Uganda?
The young people we have been mismanaged.
By who?
By those who must manage them.
That is?
I begin with the government. The government has not done enough to the young people. We have a very, very big number of school dropouts. And the government has done almost nothing to these young men and women. That's one. Two, they are unemployed. Three, they are idle. The government has not managed them well.
What would the government do?
The government must devise means of employing them. Those who are unskilled, those who are semi-skilled, and those who are skilled. Because when you have a big number, a big influx of graduates into the job market.
So, the first person that has not managed them well is
government.
The other one?
The other one are the parents. Today we have a generation of parents who don't want to discipline their children. They are laissez-faire parents. They let their children do what they want. They don't want the maids to discipline them. So we have a generation of parents who are training lazy young people. So another group are the parents who have not done their part.
So, government, parents, who is the third one to blame?
The third one to blame are the elders. The elders. You see here in Africa, we had a very, very big gift of elders that has gone away. Today, each one disciplines or morally brings up their children. When a neighbor disciplines a child, that is almost a crime. So even the elders have not done their part. Now in these elders, I want to talk about those officials who must be regarded as role models. Talk about the members of parliament. Talk about, okay, leaders at different stages. Some have not done enough from the LC1 level.
Yes.
Many have not done their part. They're supposed to put workshops. They're supposed to put conferences. They're supposed to put strategies on how to advise and help these young people to grow up. So when the LC1 level has not done their part, when you come at the sub-county level, they have not done their part. When you come at the county level, they have not done their part. When you come at the district, whatever, you find that these young people, they end up missing certain things they must know that must accompany them into maturity.
What has been your role as the church in helping the groups of young people that we have in this country?
The church has done a lot.
Really?
Yes. Now, for instance, here at my parish, every holiday, we gather all the holiday makers, all the students at different levels. We begin with the primary school, they come, then we bring elders, they talk to them. Then after, then we bring the secondary school. Then we bring the tertiary institutions or university, you know. Now after that, then we have here a youth group. We have a youth group, an association for the youth. This is where all the youth, especially those who are Catholic, this is the association that brings them together. And they have different programs that help them. These programs include hands-on skills, so we equip them. So for the church has done, and then I would appeal every religious institution to do the same.
How did COVID-19 treat you here in PG?
During COVID-19, first of all, the Archbishop looked after us. But again, it was a special moment to have a warm welcome in PG. Our Christians looked after us. They sent us food. They sent us money. For me here, I never asked a single coin from my parishioners. But themselves, they came and they could bring money, they could give us food. So it was a warm welcome. Thirdly, I saw what they taught us in the seminary. God is a providence. God can never allow his servants to lack.
Easter comes at a time when we are concluding a political season. How have you seen it yourself?
The political season was disappointing.
How have you seen this season?
The political season was disappointing.
How?
To me.
You saw leaders you didn't expect coming up?
No. First of all, many people died. And I think there is nothing that was done to comfort those families. Secondly, I saw many men and women who have been in power for years and they still came back. And
what is wrong with that?
What's wrong with that is that people here never get tired. People never get tired. People have no space that the leaders in many third world countries, let me say that, Uganda inclusive, have no space to allow the young people come into leadership. Here we see many successful men and successful leaders with no successors. Here we have seen leaders who have been good leaders, but they are not willing to retire. Every year that comes on, they are still young enough to take on. No wonder we have seen people who have died in power. We have seen men and women who have died on work, in offices. When you go in different offices of the country, you see tired men who must be in their retirement. But they do not want to concede. Now, every year, our universities here do a good job. They graduate many in political science, many in leadership courses. And that's why for the first time I saw many young people coming for the counselor for the councillor.
Councillor positions.
Yeah, councillor positions for the first time. Even my mom in my village, now she's a councillor. My mom is coming to 58 or 60.
Years of age.
Yeah, those positions were meant for those ones. But I saw many young people vying for those positions. And I saw many of these young people that were coming to politics with misdirected expectations. Simply because of one thing. The leaders of our country have confused the young people to think that people are there for money. That even those who have been there for years, what they have amassed is not enough for them to retire. So everyone is coming to leadership as escape route to self-retirement, escape route to wealth, escape route to what? And I think we have a problem there.
Just quoting you, you said that we have young people that really need assistance, they need help, they are morally not upright. Do you think, what kind of future do you see with them in political and leadership offices? Do you think they can really take on leadership with the misguidance you said yourself?
Now, I said some youth. We have another portion of young people who are graduates, who have been morally brought, who have been morally upright, brought up, and we have many who have true leadership qualities. So those who are able to be elected, I think they will go through. But I was so touched by the musicians who are able to come up to vie for leadership. And the Honorable Bobi Wine also has an impact he made, because Honorable Bobi Wine, he came out of nowhere. He was a different person before the election time. People thought he's a damaged young man. But now, after becoming a member of parliament and winning massively in his area, then he said he's going to run for presidency, and he did. And I think he's coming up, inspired many to believe that we can. When we get chances to go abroad, one of the lessons may I come back more positive. I come back more inspired. This is what our leaders must be doing. They must be inspiring Uganda. They must be inspiring the young people. They must be inspiring those men and women who feel that at their age they can still do something. They can still offer something. Here in Uganda we have many motivational speakers who have nothing. Even the motivational speakers are not motivated. They're only motivated in speaking. But they have nothing. Do you know why? Even they take that as a job. Someone who comes and speaks very, very wonderful words, but practically he has nothing also. So we need young men like Honorable Bobi Wine, and we need more leaders at the top level who come up to inspire the young people, not just giving them money and using them to do bad things, but to inspire them that you can do something, because they are the future of Uganda. Inspiring them that you can do something. Here I've seen young people who have giants sleeping in them. There are many young people in villages who are poor and they're not supposed to be poor. They have great minds, they can think big, but they can't even start small. So we need something to awaken. So you saw the musicians, the Geoffrey retires, here my area member of parliament is the Honorable Chiaga. And they're able to come up to show that they can do something.
What do you think about musicians?
So we have another section of young people who are useful, who have been morally abroad, and they can. They are doing well. We have many sectors where there are many young people, and I just want to appeal to our top leaders, to our leaders, to continue giving them space and to retire. But even our constitution must help to retire people. People must be retired. They must be helped to retire. They must put structures for people to serve at some time, and then they retire peacefully. We must see peaceful transitions of power. Peaceful transitions. So that we open gaps for these young people who can take on Uganda to even greater heights.
I wanted to ask you first. You mentioned musicians, and they actually won so many seats at the councillor level and even in parliament. You know our musicians, you know their music, you know the kind of life they live and how some people look at them. Do you really think they can give us good leadership?
Yes, now most of those musicians, they have been in the entertainment industry for some years. Most of them. Geoffrey Lutaya is one of them. He has been doing well. Secondly, we have Honorable Chiaga here, Hilderman. Honorable Bobi Wine. Who else? And others. Even we have some who are working in media, who are journalists, and they have been elected. So if they were able to manage their talent for all those years, they can do something. But again, power remains in our hands.
I want you to look at
power remains in our hands. If they go there and they do not perform, this so-called wave that overturned everything will overturn them. Because everyone, all the eyes are on these young people. Will they perform? Can they perform? So all our eyes are on them. And I appeal to all the elected leaders. They must perform to help inspire these young men and women, these young ladies and gentlemen, that they can manage, they can do. For me, I normally tell people that success with no successor is a failure. A successful leader who has not groomed a successor is a failure. Even a successful parent with no successor who is his own child is a failure. If whatever you have done dies with you, then you become a generational failure. But if what you have done, if what you have amassed, if what you have achieved can live beyond your existence, then we say you are a great man. So we measure greatness by how much you can. We measure greatness by what kind of legacy you are leaving behind. And we measure legacy basing on how your achievements can live on after you.
This time round we saw priests coming in and videos were all over, and we saw texts written by priests commenting about politics, and some were viewed as people that took sides.
Okay, some could have gone overboard. Okay. Some could have gone overboard. But I saw a certain minister who was analyzing the failure of NRM in the central region, and he was attributing it to the Baganda and the Catholic Church. And that was a disappointing analysis from that disappointing minister. Because, like I said, some could have gone overboard. They could have gone beyond. For me, I didn't do that. But the church has always lived on principles. The church has always been a pro-lifer. The church has always been a mother. The church has always been the voice of the voiceless.
What does that all mean?
That means that when the religious leaders see matters worsening, poverty increasing, unemployment increasing, people dying, they must not keep quiet. Because even when you go into the Bible, the Jeremiahs, those were the great prophets of the time. The Jeremiahs, the Elijahs. When you read about Prophet Elijah was able to handle King Ahab and Jezebel, who were disorganizing the entire nation. And he himself was able to kill some. The Jeremiahs were arrested. So the church has always been the voice of the voiceless. Now the problem we have today is that those who must speak can't speak. The voices of some religious leaders are quiet. They have gone silent. They are lost. So the church coming up, religious leaders speaking, must also be interpreted positively by those who must interpret. Those religious men and women who are able to talk, they must be understood positively.
Father,
they were on principle. They were after better Uganda.
Can you be interpreted positively when you're discussing politics, taking a side by political ears? Can you be interpreted by political ears positively when to them you are taking a side? Because this time round, priests sounded to have taken a side. In the first place, do you agree with me?
Why? How? How do you judge that? People are saying that priests took side because many of them were on Honorable Bobi Wine. But that's not enough that they took side. No. But the church has always lived on principles. The church has always been a pro-lifer. The church has always been a mother. The church has always been the voice of the voiceless.
What does that all mean?
That means that when the religious leaders see matters worsening, poverty increasing, unemployment increasing, people dying, they must not keep quiet. Because even when you go into the Bible, the Jeremiahs, those were the great prophets of the time. The Jeremiahs, the Elijahs. When you read about Prophet Elijah was able to handle King Ahab and Jezebel, who were disorganizing the entire nation. And he himself was able to kill some. The Jeremiahs were arrested. So the church has always been the voice of the voiceless. Now the problem we have today is that those who must speak can't speak. The voices of some religious leaders are quiet. They have gone silent. They are lost. So the church coming up, religious leaders speaking, must also be interpreted positively by those who must interpret. Those religious men and women who are able to talk, they must be understood positively.
Father,
they were on principle. They were after better Uganda.
Can you be interpreted positively when you're discussing politics, taking a side by political ears? Can you be interpreted by political ears positively when to them you are taking a side? Because this time round, priests sounded to have taken a side. In the first place, do you agree with me?
Why? How? How do you judge that? People are saying that priests took side because many of them were on Honorable Bobi Wine. But that's not enough that they took side. No. Priests were talking because maybe many of them were vying for change. But again, we have many priests who are pro-NRM. We have many priests who are supporters of the current government. And they know what the government has done. So, like I said, some could have gone overboard. But for them, as talking, no problem. Those who must hear, they must not only hear, but they must listen and act. So that they put into consideration.
As an ordained priest, trained and groomed, you'll tell us because we don't know. Is it right for you, men of God, to take a side? Like you've said, some priests support NRM and others would wish change. No. Is it right?
No. People are saying we took sides because the videos and audios seemed as if people are not supporting the current government as for this election. Many of those who were talking, many priests who were talking, and even other religious people who were talking, most of them had a point. And the point was, they were seeing some mess maybe in the country, and they wanted to be overturned. That's where the government must capitalize and see how to change and move on. But now politics is gone. Those who were elected, and we all know. So we are waiting for swearing in. So we must forget what has transpired.
Isn't that where the problem is? Because after elections, as priests, sometimes you get closer to the leaders in offices than any of us. What do you talk with them? What do you tell them?
Here, religious leaders are not so much respected. I've seen the Inter-Religious Council. I've seen the UJCC, Uganda Joint Christian Council.
Yes.
I've seen them talking. And I think what they have been saying has not been taken into consideration. Here they are giving a picture to Ugandans that we don't matter. But we matter, and all religious leaders matter. They have always talked. Yeah.
When you come out during elections, doesn't that excite your parishioners, your Muslims, your people in the parishes, your people in the churches, in the mosques, as religious leaders, when you come out and show sides during an elections?
What do you mean by showing sides?
If you say I am NRM, if you say I am UPC as a religious leader, or if you show support for Katumba, let's say.
No. What you are asking is angering me, because you are saying religious leaders took sides because what they are saying were not in favor of the current government. And that's not fair. That's not fair.
Father, you told me there are religious leaders that support the NRM. I'm looking at both of them, those that support and those that don't support the NRM. When you say, okay, when you...
But I already said we must be neutral. We are not perfect. We must be neutral. Yes, that's all. We must be neutral. But when churches begin talking, that means there's a problem.
How do we now reconcile? How do we go back to normal with the politics now phasing out, with the season of politics phasing out? What kind of steps do we have to take to go back to normal as a country?
One, what happened, happened. Let nobody blame the other. There must be reconciliation.
Okay.
Reconciliation. And the reconciliation must be done by the president and those who are concerned. They must begin the reconciling process because they are more powerful in that arena. Easter comes at a time when people are wounded by the pandemic, when some are frustrated, and like any normal human life, many of us are going through tough times. But I want to assure everyone that Jesus died for all this. Time heals everything. Jesus' cross never ended in a defeat. It ended in the victory. We must always think beyond darkness. Like Jesus died on the cross, like Jesus suffered but became victorious. That is the journey of every human being. This situation will not last forever. We have a God who is powerful, the God we pray to every day. He knows better than each of us. Let us entrust that woundedness, entrust that frustration, entrust the disappointment to Him. Use the discipline you have adopted through the 40 days. Use it well. Let that discipline not end with Easter. If you had reduced alcohol consumption, reduce it forever. If you are able not to fornicate, stop fornicating. If you have not committed adultery, don't. If you reduced on the corruption or stealing, if you have been doing some charity, continue doing the charity.
Thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you this evening. Good night.